Welcome to On Thursdays We Thrive podcast. We are licensed therapists here on Long Island, New York.
Our goal is to provide tools and resources to anyone considering starting therapy and to fight the stigma of mental health through a millennial lens.
Even though we are licensed therapists, our podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a replacement for individual psychotherapy.
To book a session with us, head on down to longislandteletherapy.com. So have a seat and get ready to thrive, learn, explore, and grow with us.
Welcome back to season 3 to On Thursdays We Thrive. I'm Liana.
And I'm Sam.
And we're so excited to be back. We took a little break for the holidays. So we're really excited for new conversations, new guests. We have some really cool things planned for the future. And so today, Sam, tell us what we're going to be talking about.
We're going to be talking about most recent and upcoming is New Year's resolutions, but in relation to that, motivation, discipline, some goals that we're setting and why they might be hard to attain or why we lose motivation for them.
Yes. As we know, New Year's Eve and starting... I knew that was coming.
On that note, everyone's sick. and we're all doing really well.
I swear it's not the vid. You went down the wrong pipe.
Just got so excited. Sorry.
Not so excited. What was going to say? Oh, yes. So we thought that this was a perfect timing since New Year's Eve, New Year 2022, very New Year's resolution, typical. So we're going to share about what we think about all of that and what ways to really get motivated and be disciplined. But first, let's get into some glows and grows. So Sam, do you want to start out with your glow?
Sure. So my glow is that lately I felt like I was quote unquote like falling off of a healthy routine. And I've noticed for me, this actually happens throughout the holidays because I just get really tired and
makes sense,
overwhelmed with things. Busy times, right? And schedules are just not the same. So I haven't really been working out or eating healthy and doing things like that. So I started to take my own advice that I would typically give clients to just at least do 10 minutes a day. No matter what that looks like, even if it's just stretching or walking or something, just moving for 10 minutes. So I did that today and I just feel better that it's more attainable. So that's my small glow. Yet big.
No, that's awesome because it's not like you're saying, okay, I'm going to go run a mile or like, I don't know, work out for an hour, 5 days a week, because that's not meeting yourself where you're at. You're
right.
Meeting yourself where you're at and starting small, which makes it maintainable.
Right. And like not feeling well a lot makes us feel like, oh, well, I just really shouldn't move at all. But moving can help us heal and, get our bodies back to a healthier version if we're used to working out all the time. So just starting small. And just giving it a short window. Okay, just take 10 minutes and just move. So
good for you.
Thanks. What's your glow?
So my glow is that I shared in our season finale of season 2 that I'm starting not a new job, but I guess a new position as assistant director in my private practice at Gooding Wellness, and which is so exciting. And I made sure to plan a week off of nothing. No
That's
work.
Right.
Yes. And which is this week coming up, like the first week of January. And how many times did I like question it? Like, oh, well, I could see her. Or I could do this client or I can still do it. No.
Yeah.
No. Like firm boundary, and obviously everyone's cool with it. Like I'm the only one not cool.
Right. Like you're like, everyone's gonna give a crap, and you're like, they actually don't.
No one cares. So I'm really excited. I literally don't have anything planned, but I'm gonna give some thought of of course I'm gonna work out and do my normal thing, but I want to do something different, maybe do something nice for myself in a different way. So I'm looking forward to it.
I want to say that was such a smart idea. I actually learned that this weekend that you were doing that. And I was like, that's amazing. And like also creating the boundary of like friends reaching out like, oh, great, you're off. So now you have time for an ear to listen to me. And that's okay as long as it's
Mhm.
not overwhelming for us. But also acknowledging the fact, and I hear this a lot, is that people don't acknowledge that rest can
Mhm.
be required as self-care and necessary
Yes.
for us to be good. And rest could literally be you just minimizing your workouts or just sitting and watching Netflix. Like that's okay that we do those things because your body's asking you to do those things.
Exactly. I know. I think as society, we kind of put a shame around rest and we saying we have to be productive or else we're lazy. But that's not the case. I think we
No.
just have a wrong mentality around it.
Because we're so used to being in anxiety mindset and go,
Mhm.
go, go that when we rest, we're like, oh, this is not normal. I have to do something. I've heard a lot of my clients say
Yes.
that recently because they're home from college or having a winter break of some sort and they're
Mhm.
freaking out. And I remember feeling like that. I was like, I need some goal. It's like, you don't just sit down,
Right. Right. You
have a
can just
seat.
chill. So
Yeah.
I'm hyped about that. So what is your grow? What are you working on?
Ooh. Well, my grow has to do with what I was mentioning earlier is that I feel like I've not been on a really healthy path lately. And my body is really paying that consequence right now. It's
Mhm.
like I keep getting sick and
Mhm.
it's like a sign. My body's just like, all right, like you need to figure something out. And it doesn't mean that I have to go hard and work out for 2 hours a day. It's like, okay, well, what are you eating? How are you sleeping? How are you prioritizing your mental health? So I need to get back on a path of that and actively work at it.
Yeah, our bodies are so smart. It definitely like gives
Yeah.
us signs and alerts when like something's wrong. Not
Right.
wrong or where it's like, okay, pay attention to me. We've got to change some things up.
Right. And we're aware. We're good with those things, unless sometimes I think in a hypochondriac way. I'm like, what does this mean? But
Right. The other end of the
the
spectrum.
other end of it, and where you're able to acknowledge, like, okay, this does seem off. So we have
Hmm.
to listen to that and
Right.
be aware of it and do healthy things to provide our body with the nutrients it needs and activity it needs.
Yes. Yes. It kind of goes into my grow, which is, as you guys probably know, I love walking. And of course, as like the weather gets colder, it makes it harder to go for a walk, which sucks. And so, as one of our Christmas gifts to each other, we got a new treadmill, which is so
I'm so
cool.
jealous.
It's so cool.
I want it so bad.
It's like,
The Nauta track, right?
yeah, the Norditrack Proform.
Sponsor.
Yeah, sponsor us. It has this thing called iFit, which is almost like Peloton, where it's like classes and it's pretty cool. Like you can watch a TED talk on it and walk to it. It's pretty dope. Yeah, I know. Of course, I love that.
What?
So yeah, so now I'm able to walk, and I'm making that commitment to, move as best as I can, and that is also being kind to myself. Where like obviously, if there's a day that I'm like I'm just really tired, I want to just lay around, like that's okay too.
Mhm.
But it's there to move my body and not in like an obsessive or crazy way, but literally just to walk, right? Like that's it. So, um,
Exactly. I love that, and, even when I get Snapchats of you on it, I'm like, "Damn, I'm like, she's doing the thing."
put it on the Christmas list for
I'm
2022.
gonna have to. I've had a treadmill on there, but, no, Santa's not being present.
Ah, Santa, get it together.
I'm just kidding. But no, that's awesome. I'm really happy for you in that
Thanks.
growth.
Oh, thank you so much.
So when we come back, I want to hear your opinion on New Year's Eve goals and resolutions.
Yes, yeah. So I'll give you my opinion. All right. So I want to get real about how I feel about New Year's resolutions.
Let's hear it.
All right. I just feel like they're so forced. And it's like this, honestly, I think it's society's way of marketing gym memberships and cleanses and
Mm,
the weight loss industry, diet culture, all of that for people
yeah,
who are vulnerable and are prone to that.
yeah.
Um, and then we've kind of just expanded this idea of New Year's resolutions. And I just feel that when we want to make a change, we have to be internally motivated. Like we have to feel it in our gut to say, like, I'm ready to make this uncomfortable step. Because that's a thing that, like, with any change that we make, we're going to be uncomfortable when we first take that leap, but
Mhm.
we want it just that bad that we're willing to be uncomfortable. And I just feel like they're really unrealistic sometimes.
So what you're
So,
saying is we have to want to change.
yes, like
Okay.
really want it, not like,
Like, really want it, not just say I like, "Oh, that would be a cute thing in the future." Like, I actually really want it.
yes, like I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Like I might want something, but I might be like, hey, I'm not ready right now to actually do that. And that's okay. But just keeping that in the back of our minds. Just like saying
Right.
I'm going to go run a marathon is like not where I'm at right now. I would never do that. So why am I going to make that my New Year's resolution? I would change the way I approach that, and which we'll talk about in a little bit of how to kind of find realistic ways to achieve our goals. But I feel like I'd rather go into the new year with a different intention
Mm.
rather than a specific resolution. I just don't like that word. What do you think?
Okay, so I feel like we totally put way too much pressure on ourselves, and I know that I've done this 1,000 times too and still now do. I feel like there's just so many chances for us, like you said, like the diet culture, and even now. So I mentioned, okay, maybe I'm feeling a setback. Like you said, I'm vulnerable because of
Mm,
course, like during the holidays, like it's finally our
yes.
breaking time to like just relax, and maybe we're eating differently than we are, not working out as much. So I'm like, yeah, I feel like crap. I really like I'm gonna buy this gym membership or this personal trainer or this detox right now, right? Like we want to do that. But taking a step back and saying like, "What? That's actually more stress for me, and I'm putting way too much pressure on myself
It's
to
so
set a
true.
high, unattainable thing." So it's like, you know what? I want to get this six pack by the end of this month, and I'm gonna be so thin. We used to always say this, like
Hmm.
friend groups, anyone on my sports team, like it was like always like that. Well, January 1st, like why are we waiting till January 1st?
Exactly.
And why can't we just find a balance and saying and accepting, right? So we have to find like self-acceptance and grace in this time. Like,
Hmm.
and I don't even mean it in such a negative way. Like, this is what happens. This is life, right? We're gonna fluctuate. We're gonna go through times that are we're not super highly motivated and on the right track. But we don't need to wait till January 1st to do this because then we're just setting ourselves up. We're awaiting this one date to
Anticipation and just,
attain, right,
yeah.
to attain the highest goal that we have. And then we're
Right.
getting shot down, and then it's lasting a week at most, maybe. And
Hmm.
maybe for some, I don't wanna discredit others that I know a lot of people who have,
Yeah.
done things like that, but ask yourself if you can't do this the rest of your life the exact way that you're starting this, then it's not sustainable.
Right, exactly. And if you're not willing to start this today in this moment, what's going on? And going back to what you said about for your own goal of wanting to be mentally and physically healthy, and instead of like going out and getting a weight loss plan or whatever it is, you went back to yourself and you trusted your own instinct,
Mm,
and we have the tools, right? Like, I don't know. I think a lot of times New Year's resolutions can be a really just easy path to getting like a shame spiral. Because then when we don't achieve it, it's like, I suck. I
right.
don't know. Maybe that's just me, but like, I just feel like if it's not a realistic goal, obviously I'm not going to achieve it. And then I'm going to be really hard on myself.
Exactly. And then there's shame, right? And then there's another cycle of like, "Okay, wait, I'm gonna start over in a week," or, "The diet's gonna start on Monday."
Yeah.
And this, that, and the next, right? But again, if it's not something we could do the rest of our life, and I'm gonna get into a darker side of this, but it's
Hmm.
something I've been noticing with people that I work with is eating disorders and things like that. I've noticed. And one of the things I ask them is like, they're like, well, I don't want to change because it's not, like it's working for me. Like this is my New Year's resolution to lose a lot of weight. So I've been
Mhm.
doing this since whatever. And could you picture yourself starving yourself or purging in this way the rest of your life?
Mhm.
And they'll go silent. Of course not. Okay, so then if this is our main way of weight loss, we're going to gain it back, right?
Mhm.
So we're not teaching ourselves. So in that way, that's not something that's sustainable.
Right.
On these the military diet, the keto diet, like whatever it
It's
is,
not
right?
sustainable.
It's not sustainable. And I'm using dieting because, like you said, Liana, like that's like the main
Yeah.
thing during New Year's resolutions. But
Mhm.
maybe there's something else. Like, why don't we change it? If we're noticing that this is our New Year's resolution every year, maybe
Yeah.
that's not working then.
Right, something's not working.
Could
I
it be
want
to read more or learn something else, but making it more attainable? Sorry to cut you off. What were
No,
you gonna
no, it's very, very true, changing the ways that we approach a new goal, and I wanted to make sure I plug because this is a really good, segue. I actually wrote a blog and it's on goodingwellness.com about, it's what is it? It is near it's like, respecting our bodies, a different New Year's resolution. That's what it is. And so I wrote it to share about our perspective going into New Year's resolutions and into the new year and how we immediately beat up ourselves and our bodies. And it's how can we approach this new year with having respect for our bodies? I'm not even saying love your body. I'm not even saying accept it, but can we at least show it respect? And so, for anyone listening, if you want to hear more about this specific conversation, I would definitely head over to goodingwellness.com and head to blogs, and it should be the first one there. With that said, then maybe we should talk about like, okay, if we have some real goals that we want to achieve, how can we reframe the way we achieve these goals or perceive them?
So something that we've been doing is like grabbing a piece of paper. This is going to sound silly, but just bear with me. Grabbing a piece of paper and then writing down the excuses or intrusive thoughts. I don't like to even say excuses because that sounds super like negative and invalidating,
Mhm.
but the thoughts that come up. So like, okay, I start reading this book right now. It's too hard, or start journaling, right? It's too hard. I just don't have time, right? But we're staring at the journal. Like we know
Yeah.
that we actually can do it, but it's the fact of like getting up and writing or doing those things. So it's too hard. I don't feel like it. I'm tired, et cetera, right? Those things come to our head. Taking a piece of paper, writing it down, and then actually physically putting it in our pocket and carrying it around with us the rest of the day.
Mm.
The idea of this behind this is that you're and then you're kind of looking at it throughout the day and
Mhm.
realizing, okay, I can get through this and I'm actually much bigger than this thought that I'm telling myself that I am. And the more that we carry this around, the more that we're physically like becoming aware of these intrusive thoughts that we have for ourselves
Mm.
is I'm one, taking it out of my head and putting it onto the piece of paper. And two, I'm carrying it around with myself. So I'm showing myself that I'm not just too tired or it's too hard for me, that I'm bigger than this excuse or this intrusive thought that I have. And weirdly enough, the more that we do this, it's showing it's practice of anything.
Mhm.
And we eventually begin to overcome those intrusive thoughts and realizing that they're just thoughts to bring
Thoughts.
us down.
I like that though, because even just hearing that, like, no, it's too hard or it's too long, it kind of instills the idea that we're not capable.
Right.
Like, why aren't we capable? So raising awareness of how often, I don't think we realize how much we actually have intrusive negative thoughts
Mhm.
about ourselves.
It's
Um,
very often, yeah.
yeah. I want to actually share about SMART goals, which I think was something that we heard about since elementary school. And it rings true no matter how old we are. So the SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time based. And these are a nice acronym to kind of ring through our heads when we want to achieve our goal. So if we have a goal, whatever it is, we got to make it specific. I can't just say, I want to read.
Mhm.
What's specific? I want to read one book. Okay. Measurable. One date. I'm sorry. Measurable being one book. Attainable. Okay, that I think that's attainable, but not for a week. I can't read a book in a week. I got things to do, man. So I maybe can read a book in a month. Maybe that's even like, I don't know, maybe 2 months. And is it relevant? Am I thinking about different types of books that I want to read? Or am I not even, is it not even on the plate for me? And making sure that there's a time attached to it. Like I said, 1 or 2 months reading a Brene Brown book, a specific book. Do I have it in my possession? Making it as specific as we can and as realistic as we can. If I don't like reading Harry Potter, I'm not going to read Harry Potter. But I love
Right.
Brene Brown, so I'm going to read Brene Brown.
Right. So are we doing a goal because we think we have to? And sometimes we do, right? Sometimes we do need to for like work purposes or
Mhm.
school, but are all of our goals doing it because we think we have to? We think we have to do the most strenuous workout in the gym, or we have to do the most restricting diet because that's what's working for Sally down the block.
Mhm.
But do we like that? Do we enjoy that?
Right. I'm not going to take your goal, Sam, and you're not going to take mine unless like we
Right.
have a conversation and it's something we actually both want to do. But like we're both different humans with different intentions and different futures and pasts
And different
and
ways of just interest, different interests and different ways of learning and, finding motivation. There's something that I include in my sessions and it's called the readiness ruler.
I love that. You taught me about that. I use it all the time.
It's it's like really cool when we think about it. And it's whenever we're thinking about a change. So it's in relation to SMART goals, like you mentioned too. So I ask people on a scale of like 0 to 10 or something, we'll say, for example, so 0 being not at all, 10 being very much so. How ready are we to make changes, right? So the first question I might ask is, how important is this change to you? And they'll say, oh, it's so important. It's like a 10. Okay, how confident are you that you're going to be able to make the change? I don't know. Maybe I'm like a 5. Okay, how ready are you? Uh, I don't know, like a 4. And okay, so why are you not a 3? Right? I might go lower with them. Why are you
Mhm.
not a 3? So you're a 4, that's pretty high. They'll say that's not high at all. I don't feel like I am ready. But you were so confident in another piece, or it was so important to you. And if something's so important to us, that's where we want to. So I'll go through this ruler with them a few times
Mhm.
because we want to identify if something's so important to you, why is it important to you?
Mhm.
What makes finding our why, right? So if it's, I don't know, give me another example. I don't want to keep using working out. What's
I
another
know.
goal that we can use?
Do journaling.
Okay, journaling. That's a good one because I struggle with this too. So if it's so important to you, right? So it's so important. Why is it important though? Well, because it'll better my mental health. Yeah, but are you saying that because I'm saying that to you or
Right. Do you
because you
believe
feel
it?
like it actually will? And if
Mhm.
not, I'm not going to get offended as the therapist. It has to be something that's going to work for you.
Right.
So, where are you going to be in 6 months with this? Right? How did we get from 6 months ago to now? Like, how can we think of ourselves in that futuristic way? Where do we want to be?
Mhm.
So we don't have to journal every single day for an hour, right? Like, what would be attainable for you?
Right. Maybe it's like doing a 5-point gratitude list 3 times per week.
Right.
That just gets us in the door of journaling. Um, and one thing I want to also talk about is that a lot of times I heard someone ask me, guys, how do you get the motivation to do X, Y, and Z? And I was sharing how I don't think we get the motivation. I think we just have to do it, even though it's going to be freaking uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then after a while, we begin to experience the positive impacts of that thing. And we get into the groove or we get the discipline and we continue to do it. I really don't think like one day we're going to wake up and be like, I can't wait to do this. I mean, maybe for certain things, but for something that's different and a goal and something we're working towards, there's going to be a level of uncomfortability. And we know uncomfortability means that we're changing, we're growing. So I
Yes.
think expecting that, I think people need to expect that we're going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to be like roses and flowers.
Right. We're not. And I love that you made that point because it takes away the, again, pressure of when am I going to feel? It's like you're waiting for like a shooting star and you're like,
Yes.
when am I just going to, or superpowers to come about? It's like, what does motivation look like? And it looks one different for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And motivation comes when we believe in ourselves. So, how do we believe in ourselves? We can prove to ourselves that we're able to attain something. And that can come by setting realistic standards and goals for ourselves.
Yeah.
And you know what it reminds me of?
What?
You got me into TikTok. So now that I'm in the know with things, it's like that Rihanna thing. It's like,
Oh,
how do you get the
yes.
motivation? It's like on the days that you feel like, whatever. And she's like, pretend. That is true.
It is true.
Sometimes you have to fake it to get there. And that doesn't mean that we're going to find a goal that we hate and fake it till we make it through that. But it's sometimes we have to just push ourselves in that way to start wanting that, to start believing in ourselves that it's attainable.
Right. No, I love that thing because I love it because we have to fake it till we make it sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think we're noticing how much language plays a role in all of this, how we talk to ourselves. Let's say if we don't achieve that goal or we don't start when we thought we were going to start, that's okay. But I want to just put it out there. I think coming at ourselves with shame, being like, oh, you didn't do this today. Like you gotta lose weight or you're not gonna improve if you don't start journaling. That doesn't help. Like there's been many studies to show that negative self-talk and a shame-based approach does not equal to positive outcomes. So change the language.
Mhm.
And instead of bringing ourselves down, we can still achieve our goals by entering into this with positive self-talk.
And we hit on that on our one of our first episodes because
Mhm.
I think, and Liana, you can probably attest to this, is just like growing up, we thought that being harsh to ourselves and, being on sports teams or whatever, it just, the more that I call myself this, that, and the next, it's like that'll motivate me. But we're training ourselves to be so negative to ourselves that we're never going to see the positive. We're just going to
Yes.
be super perfectionistic
Mhm.
throughout this and just shame ourselves throughout most of this. So you have to give yourself grace in this. And maybe you're comparing yourself to a younger version of yourself or a different side of you, maybe before an injury or something that happened, or when you felt more motivated because you had more time. There's so many factors that can play a role. Burnout, right?
Mhm.
Family things that are going on for you, breakups, friendship issues, losing a pet, like starting a new job, right? There's just so many things that could happen in our life that causes us to, I don't even want to say setback, but change the way that we used to feel and think.
Mhm.
And we have to acknowledge that that's going to happen. And it's
Yeah.
okay that it's happening. So, how do we, again, adjust to where we're at, like Liana, you were saying before?
Uh, couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree. Like really delving into what's the difference between now and like 10 years ago with where I want to be.
Yeah.
Very different, especially with everything going on right now. So we can give ourselves grace rather than kind of labeling things as like, okay, then working out has to be a punishment. So we're trying to lift ourselves up here. So
Practice those positive affirmations,
yes, I'm a huge fan. Positive affirmations.
right? I'm going to get to where I need to be in this moment,
Mhm.
or I'm grateful for being able to do 10 minutes a day. I'm grateful for being able to
Yeah.
have this journal and being able to write, or whatever it is for you. um I am worthy of this, right? I am able.
Mhm.
I will get there.
Oh, I like those.
Like those are just things that the more, more we practice it, the more we'll believe it and
Yes.
attract that.
Energy.
Yeah, I'm trying not to. I'm like,
I know.
vibes, energy, or are we trying
Every
to
time I say that,
that?
I'm like, attracting positive vibes. I'm like, oh God, grow
Hippies.
up. Oh, but we hope you guys enjoyed these tips. We wanted to give you some, tangible tips to kind of take into this new year. And yeah, so we'll close out with some rapid fires. Rapid fire question number 1. Would you rather go to a new gym without knowing anyone or go to a house party where you only know one person?
Oh. That's hard. Well, okay. I was gonna say I'd rather go to a gym because then it's is it like a class gym?
Good question. Good question. No, a normal
It's just like a
gym.
universal gym?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that then. Because I was gonna say a house party, people may think, all right, well, we can cover up with alcohol. I can make friends, but that's not for everyone.
Mhm.
I'd rather go to a gym by myself.
Me too, actually, because then I fear I don't want to follow my friend around.
Well, right. Right. I can make friends with people, but maybe they're not the greatest people. I don't know.
I don't know.
A
Maybe
lot
I'm
of
just not,
questions.
maybe I'm not feeling that vibe. I'm not feeling the house, At least in the gym, you can kind of do your own thing, watch other
Yeah,
people.
headphones.
Yes. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's anxiety that comes with starting a new gym because you're trying to figure it
Yeah.
out and everything like that.
And I like to
So,
talk. I like to talk to people like all the time. So it is
yeah.
hard for me to like that's why I actually don't go to universal gyms because I'm like I
Yeah.
need to like
I like the community.
yeah,
Yeah. Me
exactly.
too.
What
What's
about
yours?
you? You said the gym?
I
That
said
was
the
your answer?
gym. Yeah, definitely the gym for sure.
Okay. Now there is a million other rapid fires I can give that you just kind of sparked in my head right now,
Oh.
but going to a New Year's Eve club party, like when you're paying the $200 ticket, and
Oh,
pretend
yes,
that
we love
COVID's
that.
not a thing right now,
Oh, yes, of course.
or go to a chill house party, or not even party, like gathering in pajamas
Gathering.
and just like chilling and watching the ball drop. What would you rather? Think of like all aspects of your life. Like I know maybe where we're thinking like we're tired in this moment, but like thinking of all aspects of your
I mean,
life.
in this moment, as I'm wearing a cheetah robe, what do you mean? Like,
What are you referring to?
well, in my early 20s, I would have went to the NYE club party any day. I would have paid that ticket. I would have went to the city, done the whole 9. Now, as I'm entering into my 30s, I'm going to choose the house gathering, shocker, in PJs. I don't have the energy anymore to do that. But I'm grateful for both that I've
Yeah.
had that experience. What about you?
Yeah, it only occurred to me like this year, I think, that I was like, maybe I'll like do it one more year, like
One
doing
more.
like
One
one more like
more.
thriller. And then I was like, I don't feel good.
My
I'm
body's telling
tired.
me different.
I was like, I'm tired. But then I was like, did I ever actually have the energy to do these things? I don't know.
How did I do it?
I think I was just like, I'm thinking of high school. It was like all people we knew. And
Yeah.
it was like the thrill of it. And I guess I just had more energy. I don't really know. But yeah, at this moment in my life, I actually realized it's so much more fun to like watch the whole ball drop and like playing like small games and just being in more comfortable clothing and,
Yeah.
you know,
You mean exactly what we did on New Year's Eve this year?
yeah. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. No, me too. I feel like games are so fun now.
It's more personal.
Yes. And you're not
I
just sitting
like that.
around talking or on your phone. It's like you're able to all do something together.
Yeah. I don't know. That I think it needed to happen for me to like really realize it. And I've, during all COVID things, like I've been involved in those things, but it still like wasn't the same. Like I feel like this was like a planned like
Yes.
comment. And everyone, like a lot of people did that this year. I rarely saw
Tons.
people like raving.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people did that this year.
Yeah.
Because of everything. But yeah, it was a good time.
It's fun to dress up and do those things.
Oh,
And I
of
can maybe do that
course.
once in a while with like a month's worth of sleep prior
Yes, and preparation.
and a lot of hydration before.
Mhm.
But
Yes.
yeah, no, this is for me, it's gonna be like chill.
Yeah. Samesies. All right, guys. Well, that wraps up our first episode of 2022, season 3. We're really excited for this season. Next week, we're going to be talking to Monica Wells, licensed mental health counselor, talking all about individuals with ADHD and how those individuals can get ready for more of an independent life, going to college, starting their lives. So we're really excited for this conversation.
Yes. Can't wait to record and then have you guys listen and hear feedback about it.
Yes, yes, we love the feedback and we hope everyone's having a good start to the new year. And remember,
keep thriving.
Thank you guys for listening to another episode of On Thursdays We Thrive. We love learning and growing with you each Thursday.
If you enjoy listening to us, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast. To connect with us on Instagram, you can follow @On Thursdays We Thrive.
On Thursdays We Thrive is a partnership between Liana Ross, Sam Triani, and Gooding Wellness, LCSW PC. If you are in New York and would like to speak with a therapist directly or to one of us,
head on down to LongIslandTeletherapy.com or GoodingWellness.com. Keep thriving.